Hello and welcome to today's expert webinar presented by Accountants. And joining us today is Jim Bourke, Director of Firm Technology and a partner at Withum, Smith and Brown. He'll be speaking about technology trends for the profession. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to get started. Just a quick reminder, if you are on Twitter and would like to tweet out anything that you find interesting during this presentation or any questions you have for us or for Jim, you can use the hashtag #expertwebinar. You see that in the bottom left corner of my slides right now. You can use that to follow along or interact with us. If you need to use the GoToWebinar control panel at any point, you can look for the orange arrow to hide or expand the panel itself. You can select from dialing in on a phone call or using your computer audio. If you use phone call, it'll give you a dial-in number and an access code. Jim's slides are available under the Handouts tab. You'll find a PDF in there with all of his slides so you can follow along and share with others as well who are not attending today. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please send them throughout the presentation and we'll try to answer them as we go along and during our poll breaks. We do offer one CP for today's webinar, and what's required for that is attending the live webinar for no less than 50 minutes, responding to all three of the poll questions, and then as soon as we close out of the webinar today, or as soon as you close your webinar window, you'll see a post-webinar survey pop up. Just go ahead and fill that out and submit it. If you don't see it pop up, no worries, we will send you an email with a link to it as well so you can get it from there. Also, make sure to add webinar@accountantsworld.com to your trusted email list to make sure that any CP related notifications come through. I also wanted to mention another webinar that we are putting on right now that we're very excited about, and that's for payroll relief, which is our award-winning payroll solution, payroll processing solution. The premise behind payroll relief is very simple. We want to make payroll faster, easier, and virtually hassle-free for professional accountants like yourself. Payroll relief is designed exclusively for accountants and performs payroll processing tasks automatically on time and with 100% guaranteed accuracy on computations. The secret to what payroll relief does, we offer streamlined workflow that follows the natural sequence of how you process payrolls. We allow you to customize your payroll service to best meet the needs of each client, and we integrate with all major third-party vendors as well, so data is no longer an issue. Over 70% of payroll relief customers have cut their processing time by 25% or more. That's from a recent survey we just did of all of our customers. So if you'd like to learn more about how you can experience faster, easier payroll, we offer a webinar several times per week, and a super easy way to get registered for that 45-minute webinar is when you go to the post-webinar survey, you'll see a question that asks you what date you'd like to select to get registered for the webinar. So you can just indicate it there. You'll receive a notification from GoToWebinar, and then you're all set. So we look forward to seeing you at that webinar sometime next week. Before I turn things over to Jim Bourke, I'd like to briefly introduce him. He is a partner and director of firm technology at Withum, Smith and Brown. He is a renowned expert in cloud technology, cyber, data analytics, information security, many other technology-related topics that affect professional accountants today, and has been a member of Accounting Today's Top 100 Most Influential list for over a decade. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and turn the floor over to Jim Bourke.
Okay, Div, thank you so much for asking me to present today at your Accountants World webinar. So right now, you all should be able to see my slides, technology trends for the profession. I'll have to tell you, this technology trends for the profession today, technology drives our profession. Every firm, I don't care whether you're doing test work or tax work or consulting work, we are all technology companies today. Technology drives what we do. Selecting the right technologies drive what we do. It's a global, we're reaching out to clients globally today. Our clients have clients around the world today. Perfect example, this webinar today, I'm actually sitting in London in the UK presenting this webinar today. I'm here speaking at another conference that I flew in for this morning, but it shows you how our world is connected and how the internet has really brought so much change so quickly upon our entire profession. You heard a little bit about myself. I am a partner at Witham. Witham is a large regional CPA firm. My true role in the firm, I'm Director of Advisory Services. And that's another thing I'd like to add. Advisory services is going to drive growth in our profession. So test work's going to be around for a long time. Tax work is going to be around for a long time. Advisory, growth in advisory. We are the trusted advisors as CPAs. That advisory service work is going to drive growth in our firm. And what is fueling it? It's what we're talking about today on this webinar. It's technology. Technology is driving that growth. So anyway, that's enough about me. Here's the agenda for today. We only have 50 minutes and to talk about this topic. I could go on for days talking about technology. So what are we going to cover? We're going to talk about technology. Where were we and where was technology in this profession? Then many of you were trying to get lean. We're trying to get better. We're trying to improve our manual process. We're going to talk about technology that's here today. We're going to spend most of our time talking about technology that's here today because it's here, it's available, you can go out and get it. It's not that now is a slow time, but I'll guarantee you're probably not as busy now as you would otherwise be in February, in March, and the first half of April. So now, between now and the end of the year, is a perfect time to start looking at your technologies that you're using in-house, evaluate the players out there in the marketplace, and take a look at doing some best practices as far as technology goes. We'll talk a little bit about the future of technology. You have to be living under a rock to not realize that AI, blockchain, all those buzzwords, they're going to impact our profession in some way, shape, or form. Will it happen tomorrow? Absolutely not. Will it happen for next audit and tax season? Absolutely not, but it is something you need to be aware of. All the big players in our space are looking at the impact of all of those things, all of those new technologies in the current tools that they have available to us to use in our profession today. So again, we're going to touch on them, but I'm not going to dwell on them. I'm going to talk about what you can actually go out and get today and implement for next tax season. Okay, so you heard a little bit about qualifying for CPE. You have to answer 3 polling questions. So we are ready for the first polling question.
Okay, sounds great. So folks, you should see the first poll question open in front of you right now. And the question is, what is the biggest technology challenge faced by your firm? Cost of change. I'm retiring soon. I don't want to change. My technology just doesn't work. It's just a big distraction, or I have no challenges. I love technology. So go ahead and select one of those 5 options. Make sure to click the submit button so that your vote is counted. And just a friendly reminder, this is the first of our 3 poll questions today that are required in order to earn CPE. And so I see about 90% of you have already voted, which is great. So if you have not done so, please go ahead and get your vote in the next few seconds here. All right, we are going once, going twice, and we're going to close out right now. So Jim, we see just over half of people selected cost of change, and 28% said I have no challenges. I love technology.
All right, man, that is awesome. 28% see no challenges. I love it. I love it. But cost of change, that is a problem. We hear about that all the time. You know what? As accountants, we don't like change. Hell, nobody likes change. We don't like changing our practice management systems, our tax systems, our document management systems, our engagement management systems, right? We live in all 4 of those applications pretty much in our practices today. And I know there's a cost. There's lost time, lost chargeable time, but I'll tell you, the investment you make in the right technology is what will help to make your your practice much more profitable long into the future. So I get it. Cost of change, that is going to be an issue. But if you choose the right technologies, heck, you're attending a webinar like this today, it's going to help point you in the right direction. Listen to people that have their fingers on the pulse of technology and change and know the vendors in the space. Use them as guides to help you along your way. Okay, so let's get into this. Let's talk about the current state. I say here of audit technology, but again, this could be audit, this could be comp, this could be review. This could be any of the attest services that you're currently offering in your firm. So look at this. In the 1980s, I don't even know what that machine is. Is it like it's an old, I can see IBM on it. I think it's probably like an IBM System 36. That's how computing power was in your standard CPA firm back in the 80s. We had a very small firm back in the 80s at Witham, and that was our machine. That was technology at its finest. What is it today? How are you running your practices today? You guys using Mac machines, using iPads, using iPhones, using all these types of devices, right? Wrong. You're not using those devices. If you're using those devices, you are likely just using those devices to check email, things like that. You're not really using those devices in all of the things that we need to do in our firms today. Why is that? The primary reason is most of our vendors have not created the applications that are browser agnostic, that are device agnostic, that are taking those technologies to the next level. You need, and I will tell you, if you're making technology decisions for your firm, you need to ask the vendors you're dealing with. First of all, it's all about the cloud today. I would not even be entertaining any vendors that are dealing with in-house solutions today. I want to be looking at vendors that are building for the cloud from the ground up. That's where I want my practice today. I don't want servers. I don't want to invest in servers. I don't want to be investing in all the technologies that require lots of IT guys to make sure they run, make sure they don't break down, make sure they work. You know what? Let the vendors worry about that. Let those that deliver the technology platforms invest in the infrastructure and the people required to keep the systems running. All you need today is a huge bandwidth. That's what I would go for. I would go for the biggest possible pipe I could get to the internet, and I would make sure that I have a backup. So setting the stage, I sort of set this slide up as a slide that I knew that many of you were not at that level today, except for maybe email. Heck, I got my new iPhone XS Max last week. I love it, but what am I doing on it? Well, I'm probably doing a little bit more than you guys on it, but I'm definitely getting my email. With me, I have access to my practice management system off of my smart device. I have access to every single firm file, every single client file, tax return, financial statement stored by my firm. I can access it off of my smartphone. I could send it to another staff person. I could send a link to those documents off of my smartphone to my clients, all totally securely. And that's where we all need to be in the profession. We need to be migrating there. Don't run and hide from the internet as a platform to collaborate with our clients. Your clients are doing it today. Your clients are online for banking. They're online for credit cards. They're online for, they're up on Amazon. They're up on eBay. They're buying lots of stuff. Why can't they collaborate with you? So the best vendors in our space are building out their platforms on all of these devices, device agnostic and browser agnostic. So this is how many of you may feel. You may feel so frustrated with the technologies in your profession. I sort of look at this picture, I laugh. I don't even know if we have any of those monitors left in my firm. I don't know if any of you have those monitors. You may want to let me know how many of those monitors you have when you chat some of your questions in. Let me know if you guys still have those monitors or have they turned completely yellow. I mean, look at this. Don't you just sometimes feel like banging your head on your desk in your keyboard. You have these blue screens of death that show up when you try to get technology to work. Staff in firms, I get around the world and I meet with accountants in various firms. They complain about technology doesn't work. Their staff are talking about issues and problems with the technologies out there in the space. I know it's frustrating, and I know as in a small firm, it's even more frustrating because you don't have an IT department. You don't have an IT guy internally very often. You reach out to your peers. You call the vendors. What are the vendors telling you? It's not our problem. It's working good on our side. It must be something on your side. So again, I feel your pain. I know your frustrations. I hear about it from practitioners all over the place. I speak at a phenomenal number of state society technology conferences, and most of the individuals that attend those conferences are small firms, sole practitioners, firms with 10 or fewer employees. They're the firms that are challenged. But what you're going to get out of this today, if I ever get past my first couple of slides, is going to be, here are the technologies that are out there. And I will tell you, every single technology that I'm going to talk about is a technology that you can acquire. I don't care if you're a sole practitioner doing everything in your firm or you're a partner in a large national practice. Today, because these technologies are available, everyone has access to the same technologies. So no longer is technology, the size of the firm, a differentiator in bigger firms getting bigger and better technology. I will tell you, from the national firms all the way down to the sole practitioners, everyone could actually be on the same platform. As I get around the country, in the US, everyone talks about this lean stuff, lean tax, lean audit. And what is it? Everyone is trying to improve realization. They're trying to increase fees. They're trying to make more money in their practice. And I will share with you, we are all our own worst enemies when it comes to this. For so many years, it's like a race to the bottom. I say lean audit, but again, when you see lean audit, just think about lean attest, comp, review, and audit. Why are we our own worst enemies? Why do I say a race to the bottom? Because we all compete, and we feel that as we deploy new ways of doing things and new technologies, let's decrease our fees because it's taking us less time to get the job done. Well, that's not what you're supposed to be doing when you deploy the latest and greatest and best technologies. You want to be more efficient. You basically, what you should be doing is charging your clients more next year for you taking less time and being more efficient. That's the goal. And that's hopefully the kind of stuff that I'm going to share with you today. So when we talk about a test technology or audit technology, what are your pain points you have out there with accounting software, right? What's the state of your firm, okay? What is preventing a broader, more innovative use of technology as an attest tool in your firm? If there was one thing that you wish you could change about technology in your firm, what would it be? So what is happening here? I'll tell you. So what is preventing a more innovative use of technology as an audit tool in your firm? I think, quite frankly, it's some of the vendors in our space. I honestly believe they're preventing you because they're only delivering to you, many of them, some very basic tools. They're not delivering to you the best and brightest web-based tools that you should be using. If I had to make one change, I will tell you. And so forget change. If I were starting my own firm today, if I was a kid out of school and I said, you know what, I just want to hit this profession from the ground, I want to hit it running, what do I need to do? I would choose only cloud-based applications. I would build my CPA firm on cloud-based applications. Why? Because it's going to allow me to collaborate with all of my clients very easily. It's going to allow me to hire staff no matter where they may be. I told you today I'm in London, right? You're all sitting all over the place. You guys could be all around the world. We're all listening to this because of the internet. And that's the advantage of the cloud. It's bringing all these cloud-based technologies together. Here's the reality. Here's the biggest problem I see is, why can't we fix the problems that we have? we try to replicate the paper world. That is one of the biggest things. Look, I'm with my firm over 30 years, right? So I grew up in my firm. I'll call out a vendor. I tend to call out lots of vendors. So I apologize in advance if I insult a vendor that you're really happy with, or I call them out, but I need to. When you do a test work, the PPC, right? PPC rules. So as a kid, I'd have these PPC checklists. They'd be in binders. They were paper. And what did we do in the audit world, in the attest world? Today, PPC is not in paper. At least I don't think it's in paper. It's online. It's available. They're tools. But what did we do? We replicated the paper world. All too often, when we try to deploy a new technology, we get too hung up in the way in which we used to do things. And we try to replicate that paper world with technology. So some vendors have done that and then have taken it to the next level. So kudos to them. Others are locked in that paper world. Very often, reality, we wonder about the return on technology investment. We ask ourselves that question all the time. Forget it. Forget the returns. Forget asking another practitioner, what's your ROI? I know we're accountants. We like to know facts. We like to understand that. But I will tell you, you'll know you're doing better with new technology when it resonates, when your staff have an easier time to get jobs done out the door, when you're doing things more efficiently. And the bottom line is no one even knows the bottom line on their last audit. Or last attest function. So to be able to measure that and come up with some metrics around it, forget about it. So here's the deal. What will allow us to become more efficient in the attest space? And we're going to hit on all the different spaces, all the different verticals in a firm. It's a movement away from replicating the paper world. We need to leverage technology. Today's technology we need to leverage, and quite frankly, we need to leverage the ability and the new technologies that are coming out in the future. And we need to make sure the vendors that we select for those technologies are on their game, that they're thinking about those technologies. They're thinking about AI. They're thinking about machine learning. They're thinking about the impact of blockchain and that it's going to have on our profession and technologies into the future. Here's the deal. Technology, remember, you control technology. Don't let it control you. What do I mean by that? Think about this. You control the vendors you pick. Don't listen to vendors that yes you about this technology will do everything. Speak to other firms, talk to other sole practitioners, talk to other small firms, talk to large firms, attend webinars like this, get the real facts about the vendors in this space and who the real players are that are going to drive technology change well into the future in our profession. Also, I would say, let's lose this first in, first out, and same as last year mentality. Look, that may work in an attest job where you start with last year's work papers and you replicate them, you carry things over. That's all good. But you know what? If you want to leverage technology, this for you, for this year, for next year, think about doing it totally different. Start with a clean slate. Think totally out of the box when it comes to technology. So here's a plug for AccountantsWorld. Technology out of the box. Look, if I could go to one vendor and that vendor is delivering to me the best technologies. I mean, look at the technologies of a vendor like AccountantsWorld. Look at the technologies they offer. Everything from write-up and trial balance, client accounting services, and client accounting. That's driving growth. That's one of the biggest growth areas we have in our advisory service practice. Our clients, although all these technologies are at their fingertips, they don't want to touch them. They want to be entrepreneurial. They want to grow their practices, and they want to leave the accountants to all of us. Payroll, live payroll, or even after the fact payroll, document management, practice management, a website for your firm. That's what I love about this stuff. It's everything in a box delivered to you. So when we talk about technologies, that's where we want to be, right? We want to be with forward-thinking technologies. You may have read about this. This is a tool from the AICPA. We're very involved in the AICPA. I'm a past board member of the AICPA. I'm past president of my New Jersey Society of CPAs. Look, I've been asking our profession for the longest time. We need to listen to the profession. The profession is frustrated with the technology solutions that are being delivered to the profession. So the profession is standing up. A few months ago, the AICPA released this on-point solution. What does this on-point solution do? It's PCR engagements, prep engagements, comp engagements, review engagements. The bottom line, it's cloud-based. So again, a focus on the cloud, cloud-based technologies, right? See the theme here? So if you haven't heard about it, look into it. It's out there, it's available. And here's something else, another one more plug for the AICPA. Last plug, I promise, a dynamic audit solution. This is a vision into the future. So I talked a little bit about the on-point solution for preps, for comps, and reviews. This is an audit solution. This is literally being developed now by the AICPA for the profession to deliver to the profession a web-based audit tool that will have all these technology enhancements in there. So, pick up Journal of Accountancy, stay tuned. There's more to come on this tool as it enters the marketplace today. And so you can't have a seminar like this, a webinar like this, without talking about some of the biggest players in our space. CCH, obviously, many of you have some of their products in-house. So their Knowledge Coach product is a methodology product that's out there in the space. It's different. It takes you through the audit process in a different way, it takes you through a review process in a different way, takes you through a compilation in a different way. So Knowledge Coach is out there by CCH. The other biggest player in our space is Thomson Reuters. Thomson Reuters has their cloud-based platform, their AdvanceFlow product that is out there in the marketplace. So what is the common link here? I'm talking about a lot of cloud-based stuff. Cloud is where we need to bring our technologies today. Cloud is what's going to drive every single thing we do in the profession. You may have read about this. This relationship happened a few months ago. Actually, I believe it was at the end of last year. This is where Validus is a UK-based technology company that is in the cloud. They formed a relationship with CCH. So they came to market with a product in the US. CCH has named that product CCH Audit Accelerator. And what it does is the Validus tool goes into your client's accounting software. So think about most of your clients. What accounting software they're using? Say it's QBO, say it's QuickBooks Online. It goes into QBO, and what it does is it extracts all the data. So again, all the data. It doesn't just pull a balance sheet, a P&L, a cash flow, an AR aging, an AP aging, an inventory detail. It pulls all the data. It then builds out a set of work papers automatically. So let's think about an audit for a second. What's one of the things that we do as CPAs when one of the steps in an audit, let's take accounts receivable. It just comes to mind real quick. So we have accounts receivable. What's one of the things we do? We test for subsequent collections from the balance sheet date through the data fieldwork. Well, this technology actually builds out that schedule automatically. So think about how valuable this is. Day one of audit fieldwork, instead of having junior accountants build out or go in and look at all subsequent collections of receipts that came in on receivables that existed as of the balance sheet date, this technology does that automatically for you within a few seconds. That's just one of the things that it does. So think about how powerful that is, right? Utilizing the power of the web, reaches into your client's data, extracts that data, and builds out a foundational set of audit work papers. Absolutely crazy, crazy technology. This is it. Again, it's branded as CCH Audit Accelerator. It reaches into a handful of different accounting systems, many of which your clients are using. I'd say if I had to pick 2 of these or 3 of these, it's going to be QBO, the QuickBooks Online. It's probably going to be Xero, or it's probably going to be Intuit's QuickBooks that's in-house. The others are there. Dynamics Navision, Dynamics Great Plains, GP, Sage, Advantage. There's a number of others. So it has connectors. It can go in and extract that data and automatically build out audit work papers. Really, 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 really cool technology. Another technology that's shown up on the radar at a lot of firms, and it's getting a lot of press, is a product called Teammate Analytics. Teammate Analytics takes that analytics piece to the next level. So remember, today, it's all about the data, right? It's all about the data. It's all about understanding the data, living in the data, and diving deeper in the data to make sense of the metrics. So it's not as much about paper, but it's deep diving on the data. That's what Teammate Analytics does. Teammate deep dives on the data, analyzes that data, so it takes the complexity of data analysis away from you. And how about this company? You may or may not have heard of these guys. If you haven't heard of them, you will hear of them. It's MindBridge. These guys have tools. That's a company out of Canada. They have tools that they take all the hard work also out of data and analytics away from you. They deep dive on the data. They run their algorithms on the data. And what data is this? This is your audit data, your client's accounting data. They deep dive on it and they look for anomalies. They look for things that are buried in the data. You know how I explain MindBridge is how I describe it? They basically tell the stories that are embedded in the data that as accountants we don't see, right? MindBridge, well, who's MindBridge? They got data scientists, right? They got CPAs, they got data scientists, they got individuals deep diving on the data. So they take all that hard work away from you and deliver to you really cool reports and analysis on the data. I love using these guys in situations where I may be uncomfortable with a certain client. I may have a high risk engagement where I just need to do some additional work on the data. That's when I use a technology like this. Again, what's the common link here on every single thing I'm talking about? It's cloud-based. Cloud-based, which means I could buy it in a firm my size, and you all could buy it, no matter what size firms you're operating today. Then other tools. There are so many other tools out there to help us understand the data. Look at Google Analytics. Look at Tableau. What's the price point for these guys to get in and start working on these technologies? It's zero. You can get in at zero. You can look at these technologies for zero. You want to do certain things above and beyond. Yes, there's a monetization model that you would pay for. But again, the reason why I bring this out, Tableau and Google Analytics, web-based data analysis. How about these guys? ACL and IDEA. As I go around the world, there are two data extraction and analysis tools that I see no matter what country I go to, and they are ACL and IDEA. In my own firm, we use both. They are unique, they're different. I would say it's a little bit difficult technology to understand. It's not like deploying Excel within your practice. At the end of the day, everyone uses Excel. Some people use the very simple functions in Excel. Some people use the more complicated functions in Excel. This is another technology that sits on top of that. It's more complicated. In certain situations, you have to understand how to write scripts, but what does this technology do? This technology, and it's mandatory that it's used within my own firm, this technology extracts clients' data and analyzes that data in ways in which you need it analyzed for, I'll give you an example. Maybe you're doing sampling in an audit. Both of these tools help with the sampling process. Maybe in a review where we're required under professional standards to do analytical reviews, maybe analytical reviews or ratio analysis, we're utilizing both of these tools to assist us and help us with that process of data and data analysis. There's so many things you could be doing with these tools. Another example, some CPAs, some firms have clients where they may do royalty audits, or they may get involved in a forensics engagement where fraud or theft was involved, and they want the CPA to sit on the stand as an expert witness and to testify about the work that they did in analyzing the data where anomalies may have taken place. These are both ideal tools that are out there in the space to do that. And again, I would go through training classes. I would go through some sort of sessions to understand a better use of that data. Okay, so many of us were driven by tax, and we literally don't sleep from, say, February 1st until April 15th because our practices are out there. I'll challenge all of you. How many of you have your tax software running internally on a server, on a dedicated machine? And you need an IT guy to come in, an outsourced IT guy to come in, make sure that machine is state of the art, make sure that machine is functional, make sure you've done all your updates. Not only that, how many of you are manually updating your tax software on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis, on a monthly basis, or updating data files that reside? Guys, those days are over. You should no longer be responsible for updating your tax software. The biggest players in our space, some of the smallest players in our space, have created web-based solutions. I'll pick the two biggest players in the space because as I get around, many of them have different verticals. For example, Thomson has different, I call them different verticals or different silos depending on firm size. GoSystem RS is web-based tax software. So literally that's a technology. You can access that technology from anywhere in the world. You have access to client data, access to calculations. You don't have to worry about updates. Thomson applies those updates to data files. You do have to do an update to a web-based tool that has access, that allows you to have access. But again, the complexity of system updates, those days are over. CCH Access, their new access platform, that is CCH's future. They're slowly migrating all of their technologies to the access platform. I do believe that tax is really leading the charge, with CCH now really attempting to get many practitioners off of the legacy Pro System tax software and migrate up to the CCH Access, which is simply meant CCH, that is their cloud-based platform. So again, tools are out there. You pay as you go. Again, same thing here. I don't care what size firm you are, large or small, you can use either of these applications because it's delivered to you, simply delivered to you in a web browser type of environment. How about this technology here, scan and populate technology? Some of you may use it, some of you may not use it. The two biggest players in scan and populate are Drake Software with their Gruntworks product and SurePrep. Now, what is scan and populate? Plain and simple. It's very, very simple. Your clients drop off lots of source documents in your office, or they get you lots of source documents. They send you through your portal, if you're really up to speed, your source documents. They send you W-2s, 1099s, 1098s, K-1s. They send you all that stuff. And how do you get that stuff into your tax software? My guess, many of you, you take the information off of box 1 of the W-2, gross wages, you key that in to your tax software, the sum field in your tax software. I'll challenge all of you. Did you go to school? Did your interns go to school? Did your staff go to school to learn how to take numbers off of tax source documents and key them in into some hidden convoluted field in your tax software? Absolutely not. So just as you've heard there's an app for that, well, there's technology for that. Today, you should not be hand keying any source document driven information into your software today. It can all be scanned and automatically populated into your tax software. Again, utilizing web-based tax software That also facilitates the entire process. And I will tell you, I'm not just talking about this stuff. We do it at my own firm. We don't key in tax software. Yes, we hire a bunch of kids out of school. We bring in lots of kids, lots of interns out of school today. The returns that we do, it's mandatory that a return goes through scan and populate technology in my firm. So when someone sits down to prepare a return today, they are sitting in front of a screen, in front of a return that I will tell you is mostly complete. Does scan and populate work with everything? Absolutely not. Any vendor that tells you you won't have to key anything. It will read handwriting. It will read charitable contributions. It will read Schedule E, Schedule F. That's BS, because they may attempt to do it. You're going to be challenged more often than not in trying to fix the problem. So I'll tell you, both software that's described here on the screen, the SurePrep product, the Drape product, absolutely killer products for taking information off of source documents and auto-populating your return. But when it comes to all the other stuff, all the handwritten notes, clients that have farming activities, clients that have rental properties, lots of transactions, things like that, that will still need to be hand keyed and still done manually. But I will tell you, it puts return preparation, takes it to a totally different level in your firm, and puts legacy return preparers into a different role, mainly into a role of a return reviewer. Tax outsourcing. Can't hide from it. It's out there. I bring it up because it is available. A bunch of different vendors in the space. Expatax is one of them. Tax outsourcing. They do onshore, meaning here in the US, and offshore outsourcing. They have different models. But again, I bring it up because those are vendors in this space, and we see momentum around that space as well. How about technology and advisory? I told you earlier that I see advisory as leading the charge in our profession for profitability and growth. Well, here are the players, man. You can't get away from this. We got lots of players, all cool web-based technologies. Again, another plug for AccountantsWorld. You got Accounting Power, you got Payroll Relief, you have Xero, you got Bill.com, you got QBO, you got Intact. You got so many great technologies out there that are available for our profession that are definitely worth a look and worth a peek at what's going on. How about other technologies? We got so many other technologies going on in our firm. So many awesome players that are in the space. On the left, we have Expensify and we have Tally. What are they? Expense reporting, right? Today, none of my staff do manual expense reports. Today, they snap pictures of receipts with their smartphones and devices. Those images are captured, they're interpreted, they understand whether it's meals or travel or airfare or whatever it may be, and then it's automatically exported into our practice management system. So Expensify, Tally are two large vendors out there in our space. Practice management. Web-based practice management tools in our profession here in the US didn't exist a few years ago. It was pretty much ruled by legacy players with in-house based systems. Today, I see a number of really cool web-based systems that are out there. You see them all here. You see Practice Relief, you see Practice Engine, you see Star. The cool thing about Practice Engine and Star, they are both companies located in the UK. But who cares, right? The world is small today. We're all using many of the different technologies that are out there regardless of where they are. And how about other technologies? How about Office 365? How many of you are on Office 365? If you're not on Office 365, shame on you. You need to be on Office 365. Forget installing Microsoft Office CDs or off of the web onto local machines, onto local servers. Those days are done. Now you pay as you go, right? Microsoft has drank the juice. They understand that's the direction of the world. That's why all of you, I would challenge you, take your firms onto Office 365. You won't miss a beat. It works with all of the technologies in our profession today. It works well. How about Box or Dropbox? Any of those technologies. Why do you need to stick with a technology unique for our profession? Our clients are using technologies like Box, like Dropbox that are out there. Just be aware they're out there. They're good. They're safe. Again, I say they're safe. Don't go with the free versions. Go with the enterprise versions of these technologies where they afford you the ability to do records retention management, automatic destruction, and security around that space. Okay, I'm talking really quick. Let's make sure we have time for another polling question.
All right, sounds great. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the second poll question here. And then right after I do this, Jim, I've got a question for you that came in here as well. The
All right,
question
man.
here is, what is the common link of all the technologies we just discussed? They're owned by the same company, they're cloud-based, they're in-house based, they have all been around for 20 plus years, all of the above. So go ahead and select your option there and
Hey
make sure to
guys,
click the submit button.
don't get this wrong. I'm going to be so distraught if you guys get this wrong. I've been talking about this the whole presentation.
um, a couple questions came in. One from Lenny. We spend many hours trying to log into programs, banks, etc., because of password issues and two-factor authenticity processes. So the time that we're saving using technology, some of that gets lost. Do you have any ideas on how to streamline or limit these types of errors?
Absolutely, man. Lenny, that's a great question, man. There is really cool password technology out there. You got Password Keeper, you got LastPass. With those technologies, you're able to store all those complicated passwords. And you know what's really cool on the Apple devices today with the new iOS 12 that came out? Now they actually talk and pass through. So if any of you are using LastPass, Password Keeper on your iPhones now, and you've upgraded your iOS to version 12, now you have complete transparency. Not only that, forget the vendor's multi-factor authentication. I agree, Lenny. When I look at some of these things that have pictures with storefronts, I'm anal. I'm an accountant. I'm like, okay, is that a storefront in that picture? It's only in a piece of it. So let me say yes, and inevitably I get it wrong. I do the street signs. Do they mean the sign or the pole that's attached to the sign? I get those wrong too. Forget that using the vendor-based dual authentication. There's a cool program called Duo, D-U-O. Look into that, and that will override all that multi-factor authentication.
Yep, I just used Duo recently uh, for something and loved it. Great experience, super easy to use, and I saw it from the server side as well, and it's very easy to set up. One other question that came in, and I'll give you folks another couple of seconds here to go ahead and finish the poll if you haven't done so. Craig asked, we are a small A&A firm with little time to evaluate software, and we're definitely behind the curve technologically. Can I use your outline as a means of finding products for us in a time-efficient way? We don't have lots of time for evaluation.
Absolutely. Use the outline. Call me. Email me. You can easily find me on Twitter. I'm at Jim Bourke. So hit me up on Twitter at Jim Bourke, Bourke, all one word, or my email address will be at the end. Don't feel bad about emailing me. I'm more than happy to help you out. Drop me an email. I help point you in the right direction. I know it's challenging in a small firm.
Great. All right, so we're going to take 5 final seconds here. If anybody has not voted, going once, going twice, and we're going to close that out. 89%
Yeah.
said they are cloud-based. 8% said all of the above. That number creeped up actually as I had this open, so I think we may have gotten the stragglers who weren't listening there.
Okay.
We may
All
have
right.
caught them, and then 1% for each of the other options.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm not going to focus too much on that, but that's all good. All right, give me back the screen and we'll push through here. So yeah, it's all about cloud, right? It's all about the cloud. So just keep remembering that everything I'm doing. Okay, so that question that came in, a perfect segue into multi-factor authentication. Look, if you're dealing with internet-based applications, cloud-based applications, and I'm telling you to do it, I'm telling you to go to Office 365 and stuff, well, do you increase your chances or likelihood of being hacked? Absolutely. But you know what? There's technologies out there that can help protect you. I would not use, I will tell you right now, a cloud-based tool without some form of multi-factor authentication. Plain and simple, it simply means something you have That's only you, your finger, your fingerprint, your iris, your phone that you have separate from when you log in, things like that. It's using more than one type of technology to get in, to have access to a program or data. I mentioned Duo. Look into Duo. It is stupid, simple technology. It is so easy to use. I use it. I use it on airplanes connected to Wi-Fi. I use it that way to connect and to allow me access into applications. We put it on top of everything. I, I have to mention this tool. I mentioned it to you guys about going to Office 365. You need to move to Office 365. Part of Office 365 is looking at all the tools available from Microsoft. Look, Microsoft rules the world with technology in the business community, okay? Not just the Office suite of products, Word and Excel, which I know every single one of you use and have, and your clients use it. This is the future, guys. This Power BI. Power BI is an awesome data visualization tool that you don't have to be like a data scientist to understand how to use it. You could run all kinds of metrics and analysis based upon data, looking at data for your clients, for you. Again, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to a sole practitioner. If you're a sole practitioner, you're listening to me, please, I got to resonate, because this is stuff that allows you to compete with the biggest firms offering all these solutions in the marketplace today. You have access to it. This is cool. The nice part about Power BI, that's an iPhone on the left. It's not a Microsoft phone. It's an iPhone. Microsoft has created a platform in Power BI that is device agnostic and browser agnostic. So I'm drinking the Microsoft juice here. I'm talking about all the Microsoft stuff. Just as years ago, I would have said, you have to have Excel, you have to have Word, you have to have PowerPoint. Now it's about all the new, latest and greatest technologies that are out there from Microsoft. Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams allows you to collaborate with your clients, with your staff when they're working on jobs, working on projects. Skype for Business, man, you got to use it. This is the future of phones. We don't have any phones in my firm. We got 1,300 staff. We are migrating our entire firm to Skype for Business. I'm not just talking about video. I'm talking about voice. This is how we get our phone calls in our practice today. Big data. I'd love to spend time on big data, all the things that are happening with big data, what it is, what we're doing with big data. But what is driving it? It's this. It's cloud, it's social, it's mobile, and that's going to continue to drive our obsession with data and our clients just accumulating massive amounts of data. I would argue with you, we have endless possibilities out there with data. Think about this from an audit perspective. We started with audit, wrapping up with audit. Think about it. Think about in the future. I guarantee you we're going to be testing complete sets of data, not just samples. Right now, I know you can't do that if you follow your professional standards. We're auditors. We need to sample. We need to go through that entire process. This is that link that's in my handouts. That's a link to a 2015 article in the Journal of Accountancy that talked about this. Look, the biggest firms, you can't hide from this, they're leading the way, right? They got the bucks to spend on dealing with IBM Watson. KPMG has multiple projects with IBM Watson. Look at some initiatives. If you haven't heard about the RADAR project, RADAR project by the AICPA with Rutgers University, that is a project where they've engaged Rutgers to look at this concept of auditing 100% of the data. I would argue it's easier, it's simpler to audit 100% of the data, but I think what's coming out of this, when you read some of these articles, will it yield any different results than our sampling process did from history until today? Look at what PwC is doing out there in the marketplace. Again, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about what the Big Four are doing, because they are leading the charge in technology. Yes, they got the money to spend, and very often other vendors pop up in our space for medium-sized firms, large firms, and the small firms that offer the same capabilities. Hey, look at PwC's Halo project. Don't those charts and graphs look a heck of a lot like something I showed you out of Microsoft Power BI? Well, you don't have to spend millions to create a technology like this. You could do it basically with technologies like Microsoft Power BI. Many of you guys know this guy. If you don't know this guy, you're doing something wrong. Barry Melanson, right? He's CEO and president of the AI CPA. What has he said recently? Accounting firms are likely to be profoundly different in 10 years and perhaps as few as 5 years. Why is that? How about this woman? Do you know Kathy Engelbert? She is Deloitte's CEO. Her son recently said, Mom, are robots going to take away my job someday? She said to him, don't worry. I've never met a machine with courage and empathy, she continued. But to this point, she urges all employees that all is not lost. Think about this. What is happening in our world? Tasks that are highly manual, routine, and predictable are going to be automated. But jobs are made up of tons of tasks. So the nature of existing jobs will change and new careers are going to be created. She said, in the next 5 or 6 years, I think that the accounting and auditing profession will change more than it has in the last 30. I tell you, I wish I could come back tomorrow as a brand new accountant entering the profession, 22 years old, and being exposed to this latest and greatest revolution that we are having. This is what's going to happen. Machines and AI-enabled technology, they're going to streamline data acquisition challenges faced by auditors today. They're going to leave humans, all of us CPAs and the CPAs to come. They're going to leave us to review, analyze, and audit, do what we do best. Okay, that's what's going to happen in our profession. So technology is going to rock our world. It is going to change it quicker than it has in our entire career. I told you all when I started this, I'm with my firm, with them for over 30 years. I know that's an anomaly. I know kids out of school today, they're jumping around to firms and different firms. It's a different philosophy. But I have seen so much change, and I will tell you, many of you may be like me, you've been in this profession for a long time. I will tell you, we are going to see more change in the next 5 years. I agree with Kathy Engelbert 100%. Than we have in the last 30. There's no doubt in my mind about it. All the biggest vendors in this space are running quickly. Their developers are developing. How will this screen, how will blockchain impact accounting into the future? That's why the AI CPA themselves, our professional association, that's why they're hearing the challenge that our firms throughout the US are challenged with dealing with technology. What can they do to help us to take our technology and initiatives to the next level? That's why they too have come out with the on-point solution. That's why they are developing an audit solution, again, web-based. Okay, last polling question right now.
All right, sounds great. Poll question number 3 should be up in front of all of you in just a second here. The question is, this is what I learned about the cloud in today's webinar, and please select one of those 5 options. Make sure to click the submit button. Also, Jim, another couple of questions here.
Sure.
Andrew asked, how important will it be for individual CPAs to have detailed knowledge of things like data analysis and the coding behind them? Do I need to know that, or is it more important simply to learn about the vendor programs instead of learning the code behind them?
Excellent question. So here's the deal. The future people that we're going to have in a profession are going to be, they're going to look different than we are. They're not going to have the same background. We may be bringing in MAS majors, technology majors into our profession. I'll tell you, we're doing that today. I'm leaving it to them to understand how those algorithms work, all deep diving on all of that data. To me, I want to make sure that I end up with the right results. I want to make sure I understand that pathway. So I don't need to know the details, but as long as I know how to get there.
All right, another question here. And folks, just a reminder, please vote in the poll if you haven't done so. Jasmeet asks, we often see that these technologies are great when everything is smooth, but when there is an issue, we spend endless hours trying to get hold of support. I'll refrain which company said, but some companies like blah 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 have very poor customer support, where you talk to machines and there's no human behind the phone. How do we deal with this?
Ah, good freaking luck, man. Change your vendors, man. Don't deal with a vendor that doesn't give you support. If your vendor is not giving you stellar support, you keep running into issues and problems, dump them, man. Now's the time. Go, forget about them. If they're a legacy vendor in the space that you're just dealing with and you're tired of, so be it. There are lots of other fish out there, man. So definitely look at other vendors. Now is the time to do it before you get busy.
And just one quick add-on to that, I believe it was in CPA Practice Advisor about a year ago. There was a poll of firm partners and owners of what made you change technologies, and they said adoption of new technologies was number one. The number two factor was poor customer service from my old vendor.
That's great, man. That's great. All right, what's the answer to today's poll?
All right, let's go ahead and close it out here. Going once, going twice. Okay, and so we've got 97%. The cloud is here to stay.
All right, so that's the message I wanted to resonate, right? So I wanted that message. The cloud is here to stay. So please, as practitioners in our space, don't run and hide from it. But I will tell you, give those vendors that don't have cloud-based applications, give them hell. This is where you need to be. If you want to collaborate with your clients, you want to collaborate with your staff, if you guys want to work on a beach someplace, if you guys want to be with me here in London today and still not miss a beat on your practice back home, I'm not missing a beat. I'm collaborating all freaking day today. I'm on my cloud-based document management tool. I'm collaborating with our clients. I kid you not, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's where you need to be. Okay, we're out of time. That's me. I'm at Jim Bourke on Twitter. If you want to come to Twitter, hit me up, follow me. If you want to drop me an email because I talk so quick and you just couldn't keep up, jburke@witham.com. I'll help you out. I'll help guide you. I'll give you whatever help I could possibly help you. All I want to see is a whole profession on the cloud. Div, back to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jim, for your presentation today. This is obviously very fast-paced. We covered a lot here today, but lots and lots of great tips and lots of great questions came in as well. So thanks to all of you for those as well. Just wanted to leave you with our next expert webinar exactly 2 weeks from today, October 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Jeanette Etienne, director at Grant Thornton, is going to be joining us for her presentation, Diversity as a Differentiator. I heard her speak recently on a YouTube video, and she was terrific in that, and I'm sure she's going to be terrific here as well. So definitely encourage you to go ahead and sign up for that if you haven't already signed up for all the expert webinars. And just another reminder, as soon as you close out and you get that post-webinar survey right after this, go ahead and save your seat for our free faster, easier payroll webinar. We've got 3 options for next week, 3 different dates that are available there. Please go ahead and select the one that works for you, and we'll get you signed up for that as well. So once again, thanks to Jim. Thanks to all of you for joining us today, and have a great day.